Blake's Buzz Live. Buzz, 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 buzz. It's Blake's Buzz Live. Buzz, 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 buzz. It's Blake's Buzz Live. More, hate less, read comics. It's Blake's Buzz Live.
Buzz, buzz, babies.
Buzz, buzz, babies. It's a special episode of Blake's Buzz Live. And I'm coming, I think most of you know this. I live in Kansas City, Missouri, home of the three-time Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs. We did it again last night. Three Super Bowls, 4 years, won two of them. I'm still riding on cloud nine and can't believe it. What a wonderful night. And I'm so what a way to follow up that wonderful night than talking to a couple people. One of them is one of my favorite people in comics, and the other one is Mick Beyers. I'm just kidding.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I would say the same thing. I
love Mick. Tonight I got Mick and Charlie Stickney with me, and Charlie actually introduced me to Mick, and
I'm sorry for that.
but I love both these guys, and they're always fun to talk comics with and to talk Kickstarter with, and then I'm talking about Kickstarter comics now is a whole new ordeal. It's different than it was a few months ago with the tumultuous state of indie comics, and watching people seeing people turn to Kickstarter that haven't previously been on Kickstarter. I recently talked to Terry Moore, who's curling up to 140K on his Kickstarter campaign. And it's not even a comic book. It's a sketch after dark art book, and it's amazing, and it looks awesome, and I love him, and it was such a great chat to have. But that he's a big deal in the industry, and that was his first Kickstarter campaign. And Mick has done several. Everybody knows. Charlie's been around the Kickstarter block, and is very vocal in his appreciation and kind of recommendations on how you should do that too. I was just going to say, Blake, to that end, I know Terry Moore is, this is his first foray to Kickstarter. I hope next time it works out for him. Yeah, he's having a rough go. I don't know if
not everyone can be Charlie Stickney, so better luck next time.
Yeah, I don't know if any of you listened to the interview, but it was, most of it was like me talking him off the ledge, man. I was like, no, but Terry, your comics are great, and he's having great success, and he's actually working with someone we all know, Pat Shand, is kind of was kind of helping him out with the campaign, and but yeah, it's cool that. I like that about the Kickstarter community. Just as I mentioned previously, Charlie and Mick have worked together, but Charlie referred me to Mick for a campaign that had nothing to do with Y-Dash or anything. He was just like, "Hey, my friend is doing this, and he's fun. I think he'd be a good fit for your show." And everybody's just kind of on Kickstarter to help each other out, and I think that's like a beautiful thing. There's not this, there's some writers that are writing, that'll write for like Marvel and DC. Like some of them are lucky enough to get on both, but there's not really this cutthroat mentality existing on Kickstarter as of now. It's like this warm free love sex party, right? That everybody, the water's warm, the oil's warm.
I don't know if I'd go that far. Like, I spend most of every day just thinking, like, God, I wish I was Charlie. That son of a bitch. Just the touch of, he's got the touch of gold, the Midas touch, and how do I steal that from him? But other than that, yeah, I agree.
Well, so you may not break 15K on day one, but you funded today already.
Yeah, I funded even faster than I did on the last Mars campaign, even though I asked for twice as much this time around, which felt amazing. I was confident I would fund today, but I didn't expect it to happen that quickly.
Yeah,
and it was.
I've said that a lot. Hey, I knew we were going to have a good time. I just didn't know it'd be over so fast. Anyways, comics.
Yeah, no, but Blake, I think you really put your finger on something that's really important, which is a difference between the direct market and Kickstarter, in the sense that in the direct market, there's a limited amount of shelf space, So everyone's competing to get their comic seen, to get it picked up, to try and convince the retailers to order enough copies of theirs so they can make a royalty.
Yeah.
But Kickstarter is a completely different paradigm because it's an unlimited shelf space, and every new creator that comes to Kickstarter is bringing with them their own audience that then Kickstarter is going to take their algorithm and basically advertise to them other likely themed books. So by Terry Moore being on the platform, that helps me. For all he probably brought another 300 or 400 people who had never done Kickstarter before. So I think just like the dynamics and the way it actually functions pushes you towards that free love sex party. Because like if you're at a normal sex party, there's only a certain number of orifices that we can all share in, and so you're trying to get the premium slot for your part. And,
the premium slot.
and like this is an endless buffet, and like everyone is bringing everyone brought their own dish to the party, and every dish seems to be big enough for everyone to partake in it. So the more people that come, the more things there are for us to eat, or whatever kind of pleasure
we could really break this down.
I think I'm just gonna have to turn my camera off. Come back to me in a little bit.
Shout out to my partner in crime, Cole's Comics Claims, Buzz. Hey, thanks for tuning in, baby. Everybody, Cole and I will be live tomorrow night talking about Matt Kent's Mind MGMT bootleg coming out in a couple weeks. We'll be talking about that tomorrow night. Everybody make sure to tune in. I'll be annoying with the links and stuff online. It's I love everything you just said, Charlie, for an abundance of reasons. but no, you're right, man. It's just, like the water's warm, you take your clothes off and jump in, it'll feel good. And it might be a little bit scary. There's other people around, it's like, whatever. But,
and as someone who has both worked with a direct market and worked directly on Kickstarter, I think as a creator, it's a lot more fulfilling when you're able to connect with the people directly who read your books. And that's not to say that it's casting any aspersions on the direct market. It's just different. And, you always want to be in as many places as possible. But I think as a creator, it's worth trying and seeing, because some books are going to blow up on Kickstarter that won't do well in the direct market. And some books will do well in the direct market, but not do quite as well on Kickstarter. So they're just different audiences, and it's a different experience. So if you haven't tried it, I would suggest, seeing if you like it. And if it's your thing, maybe you'll come join us for a little bit longer than you thought.
Definitely. And like right now, like Boom again is back on Kickstarter. Boom has been really utilizing Kickstarter for a lot of their premium hardcovers and stuff, but they are converting, or they're doing a new story in The Expanse, that sci-fi show that was amazing, that Sci-Fi canceled, that Amazon picked up and then did like 6 well-reviewed seasons that everybody watched. I'm sure the Sci-Fi channel's not kicking themselves in the nuts for that. But anyways, like they're doing a comic book spinoff on that, which they've done some cool, like Boom has a lot of cool like properties that they play with. They do like Magic the Gathering. They do a lot of stuff in the Dune universe, and now they're doing The Expanse. And Andy Diggle is writing their new Expanse book, and that's on Kickstarter right now. And it's very much like a pre-order. They did it for The Boys. They've done it for Grant Morrison's Kloss, and they've done it for like Power Rangers. Obviously, like the Berserker deal with Keanu Reeves was a huge deal. But so yeah, like Boom is playing that direct market Kickstarter game as well. And I know a lot of people get mad about it, but I think that's more consumers. I feel like the people that utilize Kickstarter like want that attention, because like, oh, if you're like Keanu Reeves is making comics on Kickstarter, maybe you'll stumble across, my book too, which is that's the dream, right? That's and not even really the dream. Like that's actually what
right. Because like each of those other projects brings in more audience. Like I feel like it's those high profile pieces that grow the pool that then like, smaller guys like me, especially, who's much smaller than Charlie, who's probably like middle range, or like I don't know, like what is, because like you see things like Lady Death and the Dan Mendoza books, and it's like they post huge numbers, but like, are they moving that many books compared to what you move, Charlie? Like, I feel like you have huge backer.
I sell a lot. I sell a lot more than Dan Mendoza does.
Yeah,
you know, like mine are probably about 30 to 40% higher in terms of backer numbers than his, but I don't have as many high price covers. Like Galarian, in terms of single issue Kickstarter, the last issue, in terms of sequential serialized books, was probably the biggest single issue of all time. You know, you can put, if you put Lady Death in that category, it's obviously Lady Death, but I see those as more like graphic novels that he's putting out, because a lot of them are square bound, etc. So, you know, but we had close to 1,800 backers for the last Galarian campaign. And so, but it is, you know, having Boom on the platform is great. And I think the great shift from comics is it's gone from what we call crowdfunding to what I like to call direct to consumer. So that's what I think what a lot of people are doing. And when you look, so and that's what I've started calling it, a direct to consumer pre-order system.
If that's what you're calling it, that's what I'm calling it, man. Because you're the lead executive on these matters, in my opinion.
Well, and like when people talk about like the direct market, they're like, oh, Kickstarter, I have to wait forever to get a book. But it's the same thing in the direct market. But in the direct market, previews come out and you go to tell your store like 3 to 4 months before the book comes out, I want to get this book. Then the store goes and tells Diamond. Then Diamond goes and tells the publisher. Then the publisher, you know, ends up printing it and putting the print run. Kickstarter is the kind of the same thing, except you're going and you're cutting out those middlemen, and you're just telling the creator, hey, I want that book. And it's actually a smaller, depending on the campaign, pre-order window, because it might be as soon as this campaign's over, you're getting the PDF. So maybe that's a 30-day pre-order window versus a 3 to 4 month pre-order window. So, you know, I just think that people have to recontextualize how they're thinking of it. And if you think of Kickstarter as a place where micro publishers go, or even large publishers like Boom go to set up a direct-to-consumer pre-order system.
Nice. You know, and I've talked about this several times, but you know, Kevin Cuff, who you know, Metal Shark Bro works with Bob. They co-write stuff together, but he's a friend of the show, and one of the things he told me in like the early days of when I went solo and started doing my own interviews and my own content, he came on for Dust Pirates, and I asked him and Bob, like, because Bob eats Tums and gets like tummy stress, and like I found out like Bob's the one who like he texts Kevin at like 3 a.m, like, we lost a backer, or someone picked up a sketch. Like, you know, he'll like Bob like hoards over the updates on his Kickstarter campaign. And you know, Kevin told me that, you know, what he likes about it is it turns comic book buying into an experience, right? And so it's like especially like when during like the days of quarantine, when like cons weren't happening and things like that, but even with conventions now, like, you are dealing with your purchasers, like people, you're dealing with them directly. Like they can leave comments on your campaign, and you can respond to those, or send you messages and you'll respond to those, or you know, even on you know, stuff like this, if people came into the comments and asked questions, you know, it turns into a more intimate comic book creation and publication ordeal than you typically get from the direct market, right? Because, you know, especially with like Marvel and DC, like there's a volatile pool of just real big assholes on social media, right? And I've said this numerous times, man, that like big pros like Tom King or Dan Slott or any female creator who you know, depending on who you talk to, like can't ever get the creator or you know, get the character right, which is bogus, right? Like that they just get attacked a lot by angry nerds, and I'm always shocked that like people are still online willing to talk to people and answer questions, and like, you know, just kind of be a part of social media when they get treated so poorly. But Kickstarter isn't that. Like, Kickstarter is like, you know, people, the Kickstarter audience, they kind of, most of them know how things work. Most of them know about paper shortages and delays, whether it's like a hurricane or something happened or the printer messed up and like, hey, we need to reprint this because I don't want you guys to have blurry pages. That's not what you paid for, right? So like a lot of us know how that goes. But it's so different to like purchase Kickstarter comics, whereas like we're like along for the ride, right? It's like a comic book making documentary kind of that we're a part
of.
I
remember like over the summer last year, I forget when, but like Charlie had a Twitter thread about how your Kickstarter campaign isn't just something like you set up and let go on its own, but like you treat it like at a show or an event or, you know, this shared experience with your audience for the month. And like, that kind of helped me reevaluate like my experience with my Kickstarters, because before I was like Kevin, or wait, the other one, whichever one, obsessed over like every single thing.
Bob.
Like, Bob, yeah. It's like, you know, my first 2 campaigns, Charlie had to talk me down consistently. I was like, oh my God, I lost so many backers today. It was like 1 backer and I'm never going to recover from this. And it's like, but it's,
now you just don't care. You're just,
it's very easy to like kind of ignore the numbers now and focus instead on like, hey, this is, you know, what I want to, this is where I want to be like midpoint. And like, this is the thing I want to roll out then. And it's like, you know, I've got, you know, like stretch goals and stuff planned out. It's like, when do I want to share those? When do I want the campaign to like kind of move into its next phase? Like, if this is, you know, a shared experience, then, you know, like, how do I want them to experience it? You know, because like
it's a story.
Yeah,
it's a story like anything else. And this is the story of how we make this book together. And and you're building a fan base. And you're bringing them in, you're creating a virtual family for your work. And hopefully what that does is, if they like the experience, they then become your, you know, they're out there trying to find new people, new people who will become fans of White Ash or fans of Glarian or fans of, you know, Queen of Mars, whatever it is. You're like, I got this great book, but not only that, I was part of this Kickstarter and I got this you know, I got this cool train ticket, or I got this coaster that you couldn't get anywhere else, and it's kind of fun because it's more of an experience. And I got to know this creator, and he actually responded. I mean, if every time you bought Batman, if you had a question, Tom King would answer. You know, I think people would feel a little different about that experience. And I do think, you know, back
never to answers. By the way, sorry, Charlie, but. I love that man. I love his writing so much, and I want him to call me a nerd so bad, because that's his deal, right? He calls people nerds. And I remember when Batman Catwoman came out, and I bought 9 fucking covers of that issue 1 of Batman Catwoman, right? Because I just went, man, I tell everybody I'm a recovering variant addict, and like I used to buy a lot of those store exclusives, but like Jim Lee was doing them, and like Jen Bartel had one, and I bought a blank one just in case I ever had extra money to, you know, get things sketched. This was when I had a job. I don't know if you guys knew this, I'm unemployed. Anyways, but
it hasn't come up yet.
I posted like all the pictures of like all 9 variants I bought of #1, and I was like, hey, Tom King, I'm a pretty big nerd, right? And not even a like, nothing. And I was just like, I was like, man, like, this shit wouldn't happen on Kickstarter.
it would not. But also, I mean, I think back to your thing about how horrible people can be on the internet.
Yeah.
In the 6 years that I've been on Kickstarter now, I think I've had like maybe 3 negative comments, or, you know, like that even sort of approach the point where I feel a little wonky about it. And, you know, some of it's, you know, being a male creator in comics, that I haven't gotten the kind of vitriol that other people get. But people have just been generally supportive of the things that I do and the stories that I tell. And that's an amazing place to be, especially coming from before this, from Hollywood, where everyone's like, no, you can't do this. You can't do that. I don't know if this is the story. We like it, but we don't want to finance it. And for me to kind of come into a place where everyone's like, we love this, give us more. That's just been, as a creator, it's an amazing place, and it's been an amazing ride. And so I love Kickstarter for that kind of connection, for the community that's there, and for the, you know, the friends that I've made along the way, like Mick and you know, Clay.
Speaking of, all right, yeah. So I agree. Like it's very oh no. Hold on, I'm trying to like multitask because someone's link isn't working. But yeah, so anyways, yes, Kickstarter it's a nice pool. It's nice to be there right now. And Mick, this is your third campaign in this series.
Yes, this is my 5th overall, 3rd in this series. I'm wrapping up like the first storyline, I guess. Because like originally I kind of thought of it.
How long are you going to go with this? Like,
well, so like originally I thought of it as like kind of like they did with the BPRD when they started it. And it was like a series of miniseries.
Yeah.
And so I had 3 of those planned out, each at 3 issues. And then I was talking to Charlie because he and Pat Shand had a Twitter discussion where they're talking about how, you know, you want to keep the number and you want to keep this consistency across, you know, the series instead of restarting with the one every time. And so I've recently, like just last week, kind of rewrote my outline for the series. And so I still think I'll hit somewhere around like 9 total issues, but then this is the end of like the first arc now instead of, you know, what I envisioned like the first series. So,
you mentioned like this funded a little faster than you thought it would. Are you seeing like are you accumulating an audience? Like are you getting more like, you know, from you know 1 to 2 to 3, and then and also you've done some other Kickstarter campaigns in between? Like are you finding
I definitely like that
people that are digging you?
You know, like I've been chasing my father's love my entire life because he was never kind to me as a child. Which is absolutely not true. Like
we can talk about
my father was a very loving man, but it was like I never knew what kind of like validation I wanted as like an artist. Like I'm just constantly like, oh, if I draw like this guy, people will love me. Oh, if I draw like this guy, people will love me. But like I put out 2 books in this Mars series drawing like myself, and like I frequently get asked by people like, when's the next one coming out? When's the next one? And it's like, that's the validation I've been chasing.
Yeah, that's got to be a good feeling.
Yeah, like that was.
Are you guys
actually kind of the time where like
I felt weird audio issues by chance?
I'm not.
Are you guys? It's like I'm having trouble. Hello, like are you guys? What's?
I hear you.
Ruins everything.
Oh my god, he's like a villain. He just snuck in here. The production value of Blake's Buzz, ladies and gentlemen, has escalated. Like, when you get rid of your day job, you can really hone in on your live stream mentality.
You can really dedicate time to your hobby, which is more important.
Yeah.
I've come to give Mick some validation. And Charlie as well. What's up, boys?
All I've ever wanted.
I wanted to invite Clay because we're here we may not have mentioned it a lot, but we're here to celebrate Mick's day 1 campaign that he launched today for issue 3. And but he previously had another comic that just recently just released the digital files, which I talked to Clay about 2 days ago, 3 days ago.
2 days ago. Yeah.
Feels like forever, man. I missed you. But I wanted.
That's probably how Mick feels seeing Clay again.
Yeah.
That's what he said in the.
It's like I'm back at the office. It's
what he said in the green room. He was like, "I saw that motherfucker all day." But
I will say, as hard as it is to spend time with Clay, as miserable as he makes me, it is really nice sharing his space with another creator. I just wish it was literally anyone else.
Literally anyone else, yeah.
No, I love that you guys have an office together, especially after reading. All right, so like this is why I wanted Clay to come back, because I wanted to cover Dreamscape with both of you.
Dream Quest.
I wanted to give you the wrong title to throw you off. So Dream Quest. okay, you probably won't believe me because I don't know the name of it, but I really did like it. And I wanted you guys to both be on the show so that I could talk about it. Like, I didn't want to cover it twice, and have like a lot of overlap and stuff. So I figured
Blake doesn't like to waste his breath.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Like I got
it's a man of few words.
I got shit to do. Like, I gotta go to work in the morning. Psych. Anyway, that started a whole deal last night, right? At the end of the game, everybody was like, "Oh, I can't believe I gotta go to work tomorrow." And I was like, "I don't." And everybody was like, "You fucking loser." And I was like, "Ah, oh, sorry. Anyways, but yeah, Dream Quest is amazing. I read the digital file when it came out. 50 really great pages. I'm not used to seeing Mick's art colored. And now I feel like I'm spoiled because I love the black and white art because I think Mick shines there too. And also I read a lot more manga these days. So that like it kind of like it hits different now. But yeah, seeing Mick's work colored, like it just really like it really took off into a lot of really great directions. The frog, man, like one of my favorite moments. It was so beautiful and colorful, and I just love the story.
With color, I don't deal with color. Clay would get these pages back, and he's like, "What do you think of this?" It's like, it looks great. Like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. Like, it looks colored, and I really like it. I've got no notes because I have no idea what's going on. I don't know how they made this magic happen.
Are you still thinking about doing like once like maybe the first arc wraps up, or like there was a time when you were thinking of coloring Queen
yeah. So like after this third issue, my plan is to launch a collected edition later this year, and that's going to be colored. So like part of my goal with this issue is to raise enough to go ahead and send pages to Joel Bartlett, who colored Rovers for me. Nice. And like he's done all the covers I've drawn for Mars. He's colored those, and so then get him started on the pages, so that then later this year I'll have the collected edition in color to bring to Kickstarter.
Yeah, because that'd be like a good little bonus deal to like do like a full colored trade. I've seen people do that before, like release like 5 black and white issues and collect them into a colored trade. Real quick, we got some people in the chat. We got Scout Comics' Marcus on Nasso, who writes By the Horns, one of my favorite comics coming out. We'll probably you guys will learn more about. He's going to be back on the show soon to talk about something cool, and I'm excited for that, and I'll be all cryptic and weird and leave that there. And then we got let's see here. We got Anthony. What's up? Hobbies are so much better than day jobs. Oh my god, man! You can quit a hobby and there's no like existential dread or family judgment if you stop a hobby. That's weird. That just doesn't seem fair, right? Like yeah, the special effects budget it's skyrocketed. Yeah, $13 a month for Canva is an amazing thing. If anybody who's I know they're doing shitty AI stuff now, but you don't have to use it. You can just like we got Clay's creepy laugh, freaked out Cole. Hopefully your daughter was asleep. Hopefully we didn't scare any kids. If we did, that's fine.
Sorry, internet man.
Oh, what's up? The Friendly Neighborhood Comic Book Show's in the house. Yes, it is. It's so great to see awesome people on here and excited about comics and talking about indie comics. John Westhoff is back in the house, not on my show, just in the audience. He doesn't want me to promote his new comic because I'll ruin it. I've been giving him a guilt trip for a week. That's not true. But anyways, everybody, thank you for tuning in, and Clay, thank you for stopping by. Yeah. And again, I like Dream Trinity. What's the name of your comic book again?
Let me tell you,
Dream Puzzle.
This comic, Clay came to me and he says, I want to sell out. I just want to make buckets and buckets and buckets, and whatever that takes. Let's do that. Let's sell out. Let's do all the variants. Let's do all the racy stuff. Let's just sell out and retire. And I was like, I'm absolutely in. I want to draw the stuff that you can sell out with. And each time he came to me with the script, he's like, well, you know what? Hold on. We need to, instead of selling out, what if we put out a quality book instead? And so that's what we did. And I'm so pissed. I'm still mad about it.
He will never let me hear the end of it. Yeah. But you know what? Going back to the color, I gotta say, I think Mick's stuff looks fantastic in black and white. It looks fantastic in color. Julio Rojas, who colored Dream Quest,
did a great job.
I can't even remember the name of the book now. He did a fantastic job. That Toad sequence is one of my favorites. Yeah, I don't know. It's good stuff. I'm a Mick fan. I'm a Charlie fan. I didn't come to hijack the show. I just wanted to come say hi.
like anytime that you want to come on Brent's Buzz with us, totally fine, right? I mean, to promote.
It's Shane. It's Shane Says, guys. It's
it doesn't really. What are names anyway?
You're just trying to put a label on things, man. Employed, unemployed. I'm just trying to live my life, bro. Like, just trying to be happy, which is a mistake. Like, you shouldn't try to be happy because it just costs you money, anyways. But yeah, I really did like this one-shot comic is really great, and I love that it ends in a way that like it cements the like clusterfuck of like just like ingrained mentalities in us all, like one Connor, like all Connors are one Connor. This whole idea of like, how like, how your mental state can be like polluted, right, and spread out into your everydayness, and how this, I won't spoil the ending obviously, but like how this comic ends, it ends in a way where if you guys never did anything else, it's a very cool story, and it ends in a way that makes you think about a lot of shit. But it also, if you guys ever wanted to come back to it, you have made a way to come back for another one shot, or maybe even like a 3, whatever you guys want. It's fucking Kickstarter. You can do whatever you want to do. You could do it.
Right? Yeah. Clay's going to come to me in the office tomorrow and be like, Mick, I want to sell it. And I'll be like, I'm ready. And we're going to do a
$5 15-page zine. Just follow up with us.
Actually, I do have a question for you, Clay. For people who missed the Kickstarter, where could they pick this up right now?
What a great question, Charlie. So it's now on In Demand, which you can find by going to Indiegogo.com and searching for Dream Quest. There probably is a handy dandy smaller link that would take you there, but you can do that. In Demand, Indiegogo, Dream Quest. You can go to the Kickstarter if you want, and that'll redirect you to the In Demand page. Search for Dream Quest, but it's one word, Dream Quest. And yeah, answer your question, Charlie.
It does. I think it does.
I just wanted to just know, because sometimes I like to know these things.
That's what I appreciate about you, Charlie. You asked a really good question.
That's what I appreciate about you. You guys watch Letterkenny? He always adds the S onto the end of stuff. Is that what you appreciate about me, Dan? Anyways, you guys should watch Letterkenny. It's really good. Anyways, you know what else is really good? The comics that these guys make. And yes, so this one-shot comic, I got to read a little bit of it. We did a launch party forever ago, feels like, and Clay and Mick were on the show, and we talked about it, and I got to read like the first few pages, and it was really fun. And again, like just kind of like a shocker to see Mick's art, in color, which I just really dug.
Looks good. Finally.
It looks really good.
Finally, something you could read all the way.
Like through. Maybe you should get off your ass and learn to color. I don't know. Nope. What do you do? What do you do in the office with Clay all day? Like, what do you guys?
I complain constantly.
We mostly talk about a British show,
so I can make his life miserable about it.
Yeah, we mostly talk about a British show called Naked Attraction.
Have you ever seen this show?
No.
This is crazy town. Crazy. You're a person in a room with boxes, and then the boxes reveal genitalia, and then the boxes reveal mammary glands, and then the boxes reveal, and at every stage you eliminate someone. There's naked hugging. There's just, it's like, listen, I would never draw a comic where people are exposed like that. Never. Not in my life. Just naked people everywhere. It's absolutely insane.
It's a reality show. It's the first round. You have to eliminate the person has to eliminate somebody based on their genitals, and then the next person gets eliminated just based solely on their torso, and then the next person gets eliminated based on their face. And then so then there are 2 contestants left, and then
there's 3 because the third one gets eliminated based on their voice, and then there's 2.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah. Well, apparently you weren't watching the same show. Maybe
it's been a while since I've checked it out, but it's totally insane. The British are crazy, and it's I can't believe they made 10 seasons of this.
10 seasons! Wow,
absolutely nuts.
We got some more comments to talk about. John says he's surprised I'm conscious today. All right, so I wanted to talk about this because Charlie said something earlier that Charlie said he was really excited about the show, especially if I was fully recovered. And guys, I had a few drinks yesterday, and I partaked in some other endeavors as well. Not like crack, but we had some fun. And I was asleep by 10 o'clock when my friends left. Like when the friends and family, when everybody was done, we watched a little bit of the post game. We were all really, really excited. But it was a stressful game, whatever side of the board you're on, right? Like if you were gambling or if you were a Philly fan or if you were a Kansas City fan, it was a stressful game that I told people I thought it would go down to the wire, but to go down to the final 10 seconds, I did not really see that coming. And so I was just absolutely fully fucking exhausted. And so as soon as everybody left the house, I fucking got up. I got up, I went to bed. I started watching that new Gordon Ramsay, the chef, the Next Level Chef, and slept through about 3 episodes of it, kept waking up intermittently, watching weird dishes get made. And I was like, what's happening? And but I was out by 10. I woke up today at 7 o'clock, no hangover, no nothing. So I didn't even utilize my not working on Monday. I went to bed. It was too much. It was great. Like I said, great friends, great family. And we had great food. We made some awesome wings, and my sister's friend came over, Tim, and brought his Uni pizza oven, the propane pizza oven. And we made all these pizzas, and he made a baked potato pizza, and it blew my fucking mind. It had potatoes and sour cream and cheese and bacon and chives on it. Best thing ever. It was so good. Oh my God. And it was insane. And so we made all these weird pizzas and had wings and drinks and friends and bong rips, and just it's legal now, so I can say that. It's cool. It's like drinking alcohol. And so we had this great time. It was funny. I think everybody knows my puppy Bruce, our newish, well, he's not really new. We've almost had him a year. But we got him calming treats, and we gave him 2 of them because that's what it said for his weight, and it didn't calm him down at all. So I handed him a few more, and everybody was like, quit feeding him the calming treats, and it was and my dad was like, I spent $35 fucking on those. They're not doing anything. So I'm feeding this dog CBD dog gummies, basically, right? And so finally he passes out, and in the last few minutes of the game, when we had the official longest punt return in Super Bowl history, everybody was screaming, right? We're all freaking out, we're jumping, yeah, and Bruce is out. He's on the couch, snoring, and we woke him up, right? Everybody's screaming, and he wakes up, and he looks around, and he got the zoomies out of nowhere. So we're all cheering, and then Bruce jumps up, and he's running around, jumping on the couch, jumping on another couch, and he was celebrating in his own way. It was the funniest fucking thing ever. And then right after everyone quit screaming, he after his zoomies burned out, he just stopped in the middle of the floor and went back to sleep, and it was amazing. And so yeah, we just, all of us, even the dog, had a great time last night. And yeah, I was it was really interesting to wake up today, to think about that, because it was I went to bed so tired, and then to wake up in the morning oh yeah, that really happened. So anyways, yeah, that was a Super Bowl Sunday as a Chiefs fan. Yes, this is on Facebook or Meta, whatever you want to call it. A place where we're fun employed. Yeah, it's sort of fun and terrifying. But it's cool. Comics by the Bay's in the house. Thank you so much. Mark Son, this is the second time he's heard about this nudie date show. Oh well, shit, we all need to check it out, because apparently
it sounds like a watch party to me. That's what we need to do. Yeah. So when Clay When Clay was explaining the show to me, my immediate reaction was, I would not want to be eliminated from a dating show based on the unattractiveness of my genitals. That would be soul crushing.
Yeah, that would be.
But then I get to the part where I'm eliminated by my face, and suddenly my genitals don't sound that bad. I would much rather be eliminated by my genitals than my face.
Yeah, I don't know. Either of those would be rough. I mean, I'm a single guy. I can't do the Tinder shit and stuff anymore, man. Because like, after a while, it feels like you're just looking at like all these local people who don't want to talk to you at all, right? You're just like, oh, this person looks cool. They won't want to talk to me. This person won't want to talk to me. Also with e-dating, like, you know, I think a lot of times like people are bored and kind of lonely and don't really have any, like they probably are like, I'm never going to meet any of these people, but I can have someone to talk to when I'm bored. And it's like, yeah, you could do that, or you could launch a fucking podcast, which is way cooler. That's what I did. But it was also funny because when the last time I was on Tinder, when I would tell people, I was like, oh yeah, I got this podcast. It's doing all right. And I almost won this award. And because I was a runner-up for Kansas City Magazine's best local podcast, and I was, you know, I'd like humble brag about it. And every time, man, they would be like, "Oh, what's your podcast about?" And they're like, you're like, "Oh, I go to like prisons and interview people on death row about like these suicidal murderers and shit." Like they're waiting for like the true crime deal, and it's like, I'm like, "Oh, I talk to writers and artists about comic books that they make," and then they're like, "Oh, that's cool." It's just like, and then it was like, boom, ghosted. But anyways, so yeah, like, you know, I'm glad I do comic book podcasting and not true crime, because this is my jam and it makes me happy. And like I said, I get to have awesome people like these guys on the show to talk about their awesome comics. One of which is Dream Escapades. Wait, what's it called? Dream Quest, Dream Style,
Dream Quest.
Well, I kind of like Dream Style though. Do we want to go ahead and bank that for the sequel?
You guys, yeah, you can
write that down, Mick.
Yeah, it'll come down to like a climactic dance off at the end of that.
I feel like Charlie's been trying to say something for at least the last 25 minutes. So I feel like
you know what? Like it's gone here, it's gone there. The conversation has ebbed and flowed. I mean, at one point I was thinking about how stressful the Super Bowl actually was, because we saw, Rihanna definitely was pregnant and she was up so high. And like, for me, that was terrifying.
That's a long way for a fetus to fall.
You know, like trapping her in. But like we're going everywhere with this show, and I do think like the next time that someone gives you that look, you can be like, but look, some of these comic books are about true crime, and they go to other planets like Mars, and they study like the dreams to see what how that shapes the mentality of people. And like these writers that I have on are such interesting people, and you should buy all their books or back their Kickstarter campaigns right now.
A lot of people, the guy who does my music, who does my intro and outro music for like the podcast and the Buzz Buzz Baby song, like he listens to this podcast, and he
but isn't he like on some level like obligated to? If he's
he's really not. Like I paid him. Like he's good. Like I paid him money. Like made the music. Actually I owe him $25, but he knows I'm unemployed now, so it's fine. But he told me, he was like, dude, I don't really read comics, but like I like listening to your show. Like you're funny, you like you guys talk about the comics, but then you talk about other shit. It's weird shit sometimes, and that's I've always thought that is I call it a strength. You guys might not call it that, because you're like, I came on to talk about my book, not fucking pregnant Rihanna and Clay, who was on last week, and now he's back. Like, but
that sounds like my cue to leave.
Like honestly, though, if you want to talk more about Naked and Afraid, like this seems like this should be the discussion.
But yeah, I do want to remind people that Clay and Mick had a really great comic out that has just hit the digital backers, and as we've talked about, you can go to the Indiegogo storefront and you can pick that up now. If you were a digital backer,
coming this week, so we'll be shipping them out very soon. Yeah,
that was fast,
very fast.
That's nice. That's some speedy goods. We got artist Ignacio is in the house. What's up? Buzz, happy to have you. What yeah, no. But yeah, maybe sometimes. And we got Red Sea Comics is in the house. What's up, Red Sea Comics? Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, so Mick has a new Kickstarter out and it's awesome. And I really loved the previous issue that was mostly written in landscape. And I just like really cool panel progression, panel layouts. Also just really kind of adds to the sweeping motion of his, sci fantasy narrative that he's rebuilding from a previous set of novels that he liked because he's a big fucking nerd. But that's what we like. We're all big fucking nerds here, so like that's what we're here to do. But yeah, like so Mick and Clay are working together, and again, like I'm glad that Dream Quest did well because I think you guys have a good vibe. And obviously you both do too, because you share an office space. If you fucking hated each other, that wouldn't be the case. But I'm excited to see more of what you two do together. And everybody, audience, if you got some spare bucks in the wallet and you didn't quit your job to save your mental state, I really suggest you back this comic or buy it from the storefront. As Clay mentioned, the physical issues are coming in, so you can pick one up. It'll be shipped out soon. You won't have to wait that long, right? You could sneak in at the tail end of things and get that good.
Yeah, like technology, he's got his books everywhere.
What is happening to you over there, buddy?
While Mick is doing his robot impression, I do have a question for Clay. So I'm just like looking at the two of you, and I'm wondering who did the goatee haircut combo first, and is that a prerequisite to being in your studio that you have to have that salt and pepper hair, kind of spiky and the goatee look?
Yes, absolutely. That is a prerequisite. We also wear our Catholic schoolgirl uniforms. Couldn't quite get that out, but it's a great combo.
Do you guys have a priest at the entrance that makes you kneel, and they take the ruler out to make sure that your skirt is no more than 3 inches above your knee when you're kneeling? They used to do that when I was a kid.
Is that what you call it? A
yeah.
ruler. Yes, indeed.
A 3-inch Catholic measuring stick, I guess, is another.
So Charlie,
I hear a 3-inch Catholic measuring stick gets you kicked off naked and afraid.
Yeah, they will vote you out ASAP.
Very fast.
You're through in this town.
That's right. I think that is the transmission from Mars still coming through. Are we back?
I don't know. Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, you're normal now.
Okay.
Charlie, I believe you have a Kickstarter live now, don't
you?
Yeah.
He doesn't want to talk about it.
All right. To be fair, I offered Charlie his own date and time. I was like, "Hey man, here's my availability." He was like, "Just put me on Mick's show; it'll be great." I was like,
"You know what?
I was like,
I don't feel comfortable being alone in the chat with Blake, so I insisted Charlie go."
Yeah, it's always good to do things in pairs. Yeah, we're doing really well with Glarian. I love being on these shows because I love talking about the Kickstarter community. I love seeing people like Clay. You and I got to know each other virtually and then at conventions, and I helped you and Mick, find each other.
You're our Tinder.
Exactly.
If you will,
Charlie is comics Tinder. Yeah.
And I'm not sure who I should say sorry to first, but I do think that like it is a wonderful thing that we can build that kind of community in comics, and I really loved every minute of it, and I'm very thankful that my campaigns do as well as they do. And if you're watching this and you want to get a comic, it's a nice hardcover about an elf warrior, and we can talk a little bit more about that later on, but take a look. back it. It's great stuff. But for me, it's about supporting the community. It's about coming out and being able to see people in person. I think a lot of us, the last couple of years in the pandemic, we didn't get to see too many people in person.
Yeah.
It was wonderful this summer. I think I saw Mick and Clay in the same space at the same time, which was kind of crazy. It was the first time ever. So they are separate people, even though they look very similar.
Sometimes my wife calls me Clay now. It just happens.
Whoa.
I'm not gonna touch it.
Yeah, Clay's like, all right, Blake, my 15 minutes is up. Blazing Blade of Frankenstein back right now, and
it just comes down to when she's calling you Clay, right?
Oh, that's the important part. Yeah, you might want to clean that up, Mick.
That's right. Like when taking out Clay, take out the trash. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna follow that up. No, but yeah, Glarian is out right now, and I remember because I'm in a fancy Discord with some comic book people, which I feel like I really don't belong there, but I lurk, and even Charlie was surprised at Glarian's day one performance. Like Charlie always has a strong day one, but this Glarian hardcover like really sent people that really just like really opened up some pocketbooks. I feel like because it did so well day one, like through the day, through the night, just like a really solid, full 24 hours. And I think it's really cool because you're doing the Glarian miniseries right now, which is different than this. This is some like one shot, or not one shot. These are some Glarian shorts, and from like, anywhere from like 8 to 12 pages or so, that are fully realized. I've read a few of them. They're very, very strong. I really like the one of the newer ones I got to see was the Glarian and Niana short, which was, I think that was like 12 pages total. And that was full of some feels and some violence and some just intensities, that and everything ties into, we all love White Ash. And everything kind of ties back to like White Ash and the current ongoings there. But it's so cool to like watch this world explode. The first time I interviewed Charlie, he told me about this like crazy 50 plus page Google Docs document he has of like all his White Ash ideas and everything he wants to do, and his kind of like overarching goal that includes like the spin-offs and the mini series and all these things. And so he's got this huge plan, and what gets me fucking hyped is that like his plan's going to get to happen. Like he's got the audience and people are here for it, people are hungry for it, and we're ready for it. And so like based on every campaign he does, even whether it's the game or like How I Slept My Way Through College, like those campaigns did very well too. And that's not White Ash. And like, but you keep accumulating, you got like the Kickstarter snowball effect, right? Your audience is growing. You kind of play the direct market game too. You're some of your White Ash stuff comes out through Scout later. The first time I read about Glarian was through that Scout one shot that I bought with I loved like with the gorgeous, like her jumping out of the water cover from that panel, which I love. Yeah. Like Connor's amazing. You know what surprises me though, Charlie, is you have a lot of they're sexy covers, but they're like, you haven't gone into like the not safe for work territory yet really. But Connor has, cause like Connor did a print for Pat Shand, for his last campaign, for his not safe for work comic anthology. Yeah. And so
my philosophy on some of that is like, if like for me, I don't mind writing about adult content, but the book is not about that. It's about something else that contains adult content. So what I'm putting on the cover is I'm advertising the story. I'm not trying to advertise the sex. Okay. And I think if I, just had a bunch of the show me your bits covers, as I like to call them, I would make a lot more money, but I would lose a lot of backers. And for me, it's about, I'm playing the long game. I'd rather have $1,500 to $2,000 backers on a book and do $50,000 to $60,000, then have 1,000 backers and do $100,000 because I have lots of nude covers that I'm selling. It's just the focus on where you want to go. And for me, I see it as short-term game versus long-term game. And you also kind of brand yourself as a certain kind of thing. Like when you watch Game of Thrones, whenever you saw the posters for Game of Thrones, it wasn't a bunch of naked people, right?
Yeah.
But you knew.
But then you watch it, and there's dicks everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, but if they had just put that on the covers, I mean, on the posters for the show, it would feel different.
Yeah, it'd be a whole different Iron Throne that you could sit on.
Exactly. But you're setting the tone, and so for me, I mean, and even with these shorts, I mean, they range from like PG-13 to some R-rated material in it, but each is a self-contained story, but together they form an arc. So like in context, all 8 stories actually have a beginning, middle and end, and it's sort of showing the evolution of Glarian from being this, wild, early oat sowing crazy woman, who's just like living and experiencing every part of, of youth. Like, it's like, it's someone being in college when you just kind of do everything, right? And then it goes to like her middle term life, and then more towards the end where she's thinking about other things, and just like that evolution of her over time. For her, it's like 3,000 years it takes for her to sort of go through those things. But you're seeing at those different periods of time in her life. That said, these individual moments also tie into the big White Ash, infrastructure story arcs that we've been talking about, because, like the way that when you saw a show like Lost, you had what was happening on the island, and then you would tell everything else through these flashbacks, where you got all this character development and found out more about the history before they got to the island. That's some of the stuff I'm doing with Glarian. So much of the story of White Ash takes place before they came to White Ash. So this is a way for me to sort of just slowly start teasing that story out. But it's all part of this one big tapestry that you'll see when you kind of pull back and see it all in context. But I'm also making it so if you're brand new to the world, you can just read this hardcover and get 8 kick-ass stories about this badass elf warrior.
Just like great quick hits of fantasy. It's like, you don't have to be familiar with White Ash to get this hardcover. But I really question your sanity if you're not familiar with White Ash, because I was late to the game, and I remember I got the hardcover. I picked up the White Ash hardcover through one of the various campaigns you did, like the first one when I found out about you and I backed it, and our friend Becky from Comics on the Green, right? She was the one who like reminded me several times, like, hey, like this comic is really great and you should check it out. And I remember like cracking open that hardcover for the first time, and just the insanity and the great writing and the great art and the great character moments, everything that just effortlessly pulls you into this world, and just like knowing right away before the first issue is even done that like I'm here, like I am here for this. I'm in it to win it. I'm not going anywhere. I'm excited about it. This was before we had our first chat, and then when we had our first chat, and you like told me about all these crazy plans and everything, and you just like, you get me excited about comic books, dude. And for a lot of reasons on top of that, just like your excitement for Kickstarter, your excitement to like lift up other creatives, your excitement to combat the harsh terrain of indie comics right now, and how you refuse to let that stop you. It's inspiring.
It's a tough time right now. And I think for any of us who have worked in the direct market, and Clay, I'm sure you can attest to this right now, like the numbers aren't great. And as creators, you need to figure out ways to make your money so you can sustain, not even like looking to do this as a full-time job. I mean, I'm talking about not losing thousands of dollars with every issue that you make. And that's the reality that a lot of creators are facing right now. They're saying, I'm going to have to invest $10,000 or $15,000 to make 4 issues or 3 issues of a series, and I don't know if I'm going to make half of that back. And that's like a really scary place to be in, unless you're Mick, who can draw his own things, and the only thing he has to do is I don't know. Like, I don't even
watch Naked and
Afraid.
Afraid is what it sounds
Watch
like.
Naked and Afraid
is what it sounds like.
Like Charlie was talking about being like a bits artist, and I knew I wanted to draw the bits. I was going to be a bits artist. I'm going to ride that easy train all the way to the money.
Mick would rather have the
come
money
up with a
than
story
the
that made the bits make sense.
I love how you love the bits so much. You'll like redraw like your whole comic, Queen. His whole sci fantasy world that he's doing right now. You can get the comic in a censored, without the nudity, or you can get it, as God intended, just like tits out, alien dongs out, everybody's here to party and nobody cares, right? But I love like it's not like grotesque in any way. It's not like absurd. It's not overdone. Like it just kind of
I'd say like
it just kind of makes sense, right? It's a different world. It's a different world, a different society.
Boring as possible with it, because that's just like how they are there, So yeah, like I deliver like. It doesn't happen often, but like occasionally, like I'll have drawn a page and it's like that feels like these characters are posing here, and so like I'll go back to redraw those pages so it doesn't feel as salacious, even though it is kind of salacious. But like, yeah, I do want it to be like characters don't react to other characters' nudity. No one ever talks about anyone's nudity. Like no one's ever like, I need to stand like this at all time, just so you can see both the front and the back cleavage at the same time, even though it means their spine is broken.
There is a funny part though in the second issue with is it Fedor?
Fedor? Yeah, Fedor? That's how I say Fedor. I don't know how.
Well, you're the fucking creator. Well, I mean, is that?
Yeah, no, she's from the original book. Yeah, she's not my fault.
Okay. But there's a scene with Fedor and Eastar, right? And they're like they like hug each other. and they're topless, right? And it's a really good scene, and everything's working, but I'm a child, right? So I noticed that like the way you drew them is they're like embracing, and their tits are just like perfectly pressed up together. And I was like, man, I can't believe someone would like pay money to censor this out. And I just, like you gotta put clothes on. You can't hug people with your tits out. And it just it makes me laugh, not because like, again, I love this comic and it's very complex and it's very political and it's action oriented and it's great sci fantasy. But this is just like a little funny moment because you can choose to buy a version with the clothes on, right? You as a consumer, like if you're that uncomfortable about nudity, like he'll redraw it for you. and it's so funny because like when Mick does a lot of work on these books and he's lettering it and he's drawing it and he's doing the layouts and it's a Kickstarter, so he's the boss and he's got to do everything. He's got to put everything together and he's got to do the fulfillment. And so just all these things that he has to do, and he still gives you the option of like, all right, we'll put a bra on her. Like, it'll be okay. Like we'll give the Thar a loincloth, right? Because you don't want his fucking green hammerhead flopping around. I get it, and it's funny to me, like some of these random moments where like we should think about nudity differently. We should think about our own bodies differently and not be like shame is a weird thing, right?
But before Blake gets naked, I just want to interject on this conversation about the posters and like how you present the story, because my wife and I this weekend watched a movie.
Naked Attraction.
We didn't quite get to Naked Attraction. We watched a movie called Somebody I Used to Know. It's Alison Brie co-wrote it with her husband Dave Franco. Dave Franco directed it. And we were looking for it on Amazon. We were like, where is this streaming? We couldn't remember. And we were like looking on Netflix and whatever, but it's Amazon. And I noticed that on my profile, the poster of the movie is Allison Brie naked. But if you go on my wife's profile, it's a happy couple and it looks like a rom-com. And anyway, they're definitely doing some A/B marketing there. And if only I could do that for Kickstarter. That's my contribution to this conversation.
Well, that's we're gonna have to end this early because if I can go see Allison Brie naked, then I'm everybody back everybody's comics. We got to go. See you later. No, I'm sorry. What's up, Charlie?
I was gonna say like just based on what you said earlier, I do want to clarify that none of us are selling virgins.
No,
because
Let's put that out there.
I would not be reminding people I'm unemployed if I was in the virgin selling market, ladies and gentlemen. If I was a human trafficker, I wouldn't have needed that job. Anyways, it would have been fine, I'm just that's not that was a joke, but it was in poor taste. Human trafficking is bad. You shouldn't do it. Get a regular job.
like of all the things that we've said on this show that didn't need to be said, the fact that you should not human traffic
came in
right up there. But kudos for putting out that. We can underline that.
I try not to get political on Blake's Buzz. Don't human traffic, please. It's just not good for anybody. But no, so it's interesting, and Charlie's White Ash does the same way. Like Connor Hughes is very unafraid to draw beautiful people in beautiful poses that have curves in the right places, right? He's and he does it well, and he does it in a sophisticated manner too. And so there's what do you call it? Like the cheesecake factor or whatever, that's not a real term, but we could make it one, maybe. I don't know. I
always thought it was a real term.
But he's just
he channels Adam Hughes, right? Think of Connor Hughes and Adam Hughes. I mean, maybe there's something about that last name that lends itself to drawing beautiful people that people want to look at.
Yeah.
Which is actually funny because when we first started, all the work he showed me leading up to it was not really in that sexy realm. There wasn't a lot of sex appeal naturally to the work he was doing up until that point. And so I was having a conversation with him. I was like, I love your work. But we want to make sure that we can have a little bit of sex appeal. So one of our first conversations to see if he would be a right fit for White Ash was, do you think you can bring some sex appeal to the work that we're doing together? Because with any entertainment, I mean, whether it's movies or whether it's film, or television or music, there's always some kind of sex appeal, because I think that's, both you want to be able to put sexy looking men and women into the things that we do, because that's what we all want to look at. It's funny, that was one of our first conversations. And I feel like by this point, one of the things he's known best for are drawing these beautiful people that both men and women want to look at.
Yeah. And he is, but he also is he's really good at drawing normal people, like the townsfolk of White Ash, and just, emotion, emoting his characters and stuff, or your characters. They're not just his. But he's good at emoting. He's good at,
that was one of the, also in that same conversation, he wanted to start working on something where he wasn't going to be drawing the same thing all the time.
Okay.
He likes, so White Ash was going to give him a whole range where he could have people having a conversation in a diner and have people fighting monsters. And so I think for him, that kind of appealed to just the challenge and the fact that he wouldn't get bored, because we were going to cover a whole range from just the mundane to, extreme fantasy, and that he was going to be able to kind of do all of that. And over time, I thought I would find what he was better at, but it turns out he's good at everything. And Mick will sort of attest.
He is. He's good.
I both hate and love Connor in equal measure, because it's just if I could crawl into his skin and just have a fraction of his talent, I absolutely would. I just I love everything that guy does. And I both look up to him and think I should just quit, because I'm never gonna be the artist that he is.
Well, that's kind of.
If it makes you feel better, none of the rest of us will either.
Yeah, I mean, but you're.
That's true. I'm probably closer than anyone else here, so I can take that. I can handle that.
of all the people here, you're the closest. But I've mentioned on many times that I'm a big fan of your art and your style, and it's a different style. you remind me, like, you bring like Bruce Timm elements into your art, right? That like Connor Hughes does not. Like he has a different.
And I'm wrong. Style. And I'm wrong because I don't try to draw like Connor Hughes. That's the thing I always struggle with is like, who's that other person I should be drawing like? And since I met Connor Hughes, the answer to that question has always been Connor Hughes.
But as you were saying at the beginning, the real answer is Mick Beyers.
That's just what I tell myself to stop the crying.
But like the Clay's right though, because like I've seen you drawing pretty much. We met you on Twitch right around the time that Connor started going to Twitch, right in the first couple of pages of White Ash, and you were doing some kind of like Donner-esque, like Western serialized, like everything is going to go horrible for these people, I think.
Yeah.
Or, it was some kind of fantasy, like it was some kind of like I don't remember what it was, but it was.
I don't remember either.
One of his 8 million projects.
Yeah. It's just one of my projects. Yeah. I love to start projects. I don't love to finish projects.
There was such an evolution in your art over the last 6 years, where you went from good to just being inspiring. I'm very protective of like the White Ash brand, and I do work with some amazing artists. I'm really lucky to be able to work with with Connor, to work with Romina Morinelli, to work with Yishan Lee, to work with Anna Monrova. I'm butchering her name. It's Russian and Scottish together, so that's it's almost forgivable.
It's impossible.
But and Finn Cram, who does the color work. So I'm very particular about who I bring on, and so that's why you had gone from being good to being great, and that's why I wanted to work with you on on bringing you into the White Ash universe, and I wouldn't do that if you weren't doing great things. And I think Blake talks about it. Clay is the same. He's not going to be working with you on Dreamcapades, Dream Quest, Dreamscape. Doesn't matter what the dream is. He's not going to be working with you on it if you weren't great.
Well, I suppose like now he has to, because he doesn't want.
You help pay the rent.
I gotta throw him a bone every now and then because
it was really nice, especially that first issue of White Ash for Charlie was like the first time I'd drawn a like book length script for someone else. Like I'd done shorts for Charlie, I'd done shorts for Clay, I'd done shorts for Will Allred, but like White Ash was the first time I'd done a whole book for someone, and then Dream Quest was right after that. And just the learning process in doing a book worth of material for someone who wasn't me was fantastic. I loved it. I would do it again at the drop of a hat if it wasn't Clay. Anyone else, sign me up.
How's your Patreon going? Because that's been like you've been into that for a couple months now, right?
Yeah, 2 months. I started in 3 months. Started it in December. Like I'm using it mostly as a tip jar. Like I'm not. Yeah. I would say like Patreon focused in terms of like content I put out.
It's hard. Dude, it's hard to because I launched my Patreon and I was like, I'm gonna do this, and this.
This.
And then I recently turned that into I'm a piece of shit and I'm so sorry. You can all back and for $3 a month if you want to help me, and I'll try to do
So like with mine, like right now I'm kind of like those projects I love to start. That's kind of what I figure I'll use Patreon for is like, I'll throw a page of this up there a week, a page of that up there a week, because I like to experiment with stuff and start on stuff. And like, I'm working on something in the office now. I'm doing like a page a week of just to try something different. And it's like Patreon is kind of where I figure a lot of that stuff will end up, where it's like, I'm going to focus on the book and focus on like Kickstarter as like my main goal, because like I can put out a whole issue there and I can share a whole issue there in a way that I can't through Patreon, but Patreon is still there to like, hey, I'm trying this thing out right now, or I'm trying that thing out right now, and it still has a place to go so that I just like, I don't know, like this, if I have a place for it to go, then like I'm more likely to work on it. Like I like to experiment with stuff, but I like to share it too, and Patreon is a place to I guess to share more fully formed ideas than just, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook.
Have you guys?
Because again, I like to draw the bits, and so I'm drawing the bits and putting them on Patreon.
Have you guys ever thought about doing that with your audience though? Like Charlie, like if you launched a Patreon, like I feel like it would probably do well just because of like people that know your name, and especially if you were like, if you did say like what Jeff Lemire did, like Jeff Lemire did one of the last Black Hammer stories he launched on Patreon first. Like, like I feel like if you came out and were like, hey, like, I'm going to do a couple White Ash shorts and release them through Patreon, like, or even Substack, if, like they're two similar entities, like, or like Clay, like, have you guys ever thought about going that route? Or are you just like, you guys staying comfy and crowdfunding?
Mick and I actually talked about doing that for Dream Quest. But it's a crapshoot. I think it, well, at least for me, yeah, Charlie may feel differently, but for me with Substack, at the level that I'm at, thinking about how many people would actually pay money for this, to see this comic put up there. I'm just not sure of how to make that different from Kickstarter and make it. I mean, it would obviously be a different experience because you'd be getting so many pages a week, but I think you'd have to bank. Like I'm reading Brian Vaughn's Substack, and he's got
he's got a new book coming out on that, right?
Yeah, and he's done like it's 100 and something pages, but they're fully done by the time they come out. So I think you'd have to bank quite a bit of material and then start releasing it over time. I like Kickstarter. I like Kickstarter. I'm kind of just now figuring that out. So the idea of figuring something else out is tough for me. I don't know, Charlie, what do you think?
Well, I think it comes down to bandwidth, for a lot of us, and how you're trying to reach your audience. I think the good thing about Substack versus Patreon is that it's a newsletter. So if that's, your newsletter and people can subscribe for the extra content, maybe that is a good way to go if you're looking to connect with people on a regular basis. But for me personally, writing a newsletter takes a long time.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I think about this, like even my Kickstarter updates take too long. I don't just crap them out. That's like, it's going to be a couple hours of me because I'm putting in other people's plugs and I don't want to just cut and paste. And I'm thinking, what should I say? And I've got kids running around. And so like none of this is just like, hey, here's 15 minutes and I've got this extra content. So it all becomes a question of what is the most important thing for you to be focusing on.
Yeah.
And, for me right now, I'm writing a lot of different series. So I have the Galarian mini series. I've got White Ash. I've got, How I Slept My Way Through College. I've got the game that I'm working on. I'm also, writing The Adept from Ortal Studios. And I've got several other mini series that I want to get into production right now, that I will release at some point. So is my time better served by writing? I'm also still fulfilling a Kickstarter campaign because it was a crap load of packages, and it's more than I've ever mailed out before. I'll probably have done over 1,250 packages by the time I'm done with this last one. Wow. And I really should not be doing that myself, but so far I still am. Every single package by myself. So I think with all of these things, they're all great tools, and I think you can sometimes lean into one. It's like the same thing with social media. It's very hard to be good on every platform.
Yeah.
Because like it's a time commitment. It's figuring out how that one works. I primarily go on Twitter because I can do that easily on my computer. I don't have to figure out workarounds on my phone. Like I was going to post something on Instagram when the Kickstarter was launching. I was like, I'll just change the link. And they're like, you cannot do this from your desktop. It has to be a mobile device. I'm like, why? I don't ever want to do anything on my mobile device. I'm getting older. I have to wear glasses when I look at it. Then I feel even older. I just want to be on my gigantic screen computer. So, for whatever reason, I think you pick the things that make the most sense for you. And if you have people, maybe you're commoditizing. See, now I need a person in my ear to be like, that's not even a real word. Find the right word. You find the the revenue streams that make the most sense for you, and you figure out where to put your time that serves that purpose best. Now, like, so for me right now, it's Kickstarter and Twitter. I have a newsletter that I've started doing as well, probably about once a month. And in that, I like to highlight artists and do some interviews there. But going back to the revenue stream, I'm in, the very fortuitous position that my Kickstarters bring in a lot of revenue.
Yeah, you're not having to like side hustle necessarily.
Right.
Unless you
and
want
so
to.
like, which is great because then I can afford to pay real artists to do amazing work. And that's something that I pride myself in, is being able to pay people real rates. When an artist asks me their quote, I don't have to haggle too much or at all with most of them. I'm like, okay, that's what you want. That's what we're going to do. Because I want everyone to feel good about this, because the last thing an artist wants to see is I'm like, nah, I can, you want 375, I'll give you 350. And then the Kickstarter blows up. Right. It's like you don't want to be that person. So I work hard at trying to build a good community, and I'm very thankful for what I have and the fact that it lets me continue to create. But yeah, I think just prioritize what makes sense to you and get really good at it.
That's why my shows are a clusterfuck. I'm trying to do too many things at the same time.
Because you're just doing everything.
I mean, it's weird these days because, like, my written reviews do, like, metric wise, probably do the best. But like, why my written reviews do well is because, like, I think about it and I have to edit it, and like I read the issue a couple times. Like, I read it once through and then let it sit and simmer, and then, like, before I go to write it, I like sort of read it again, but I mean, like, I at least, like, I go through the pages and think about the scenes and the progression, like what happens. And again, like, it's, I'm a decent writer, right? So, like, my written reviews kind of pop off that way. But, then now, like the short videos are the new deal, right? Like, that's how you get, like, getting easy YouTube subscribers right now is through YouTube shorts. And so, for like a week, I tried to, like, write a couple reviews and then cut them down after posting the review, cut them down to about 300 words, and then make an audio video deal to post on TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts. And, like, at the time with the day job, like, it was a lot and it was wearing me out. And I was like, I don't really want to do this. I was like, this is a lot of shit to do, to, like, yes, I love comics and I love the attention too, but it's just like, this is turning into, like, I mean, it is another job. This deal is very much another job, but I love it. But it added another stress factor to all that, and just, like, trying to time manage all that. And then I heard about, like, people on TikTok are like, they don't like scripted content, right? Like, they want people to talk like we talk on this show. And then like, that's what everybody tells me. They're like, oh, like, I love when you talk to creators, because, like, you talk about comics, but then you guys talk about life and weird shit and it gets funny. And then I got other people that are like, yeah, do that, but, like, for an hour and a half, really? Like, you want me to listen to you for an hour and a half? And I'm like, yeah, I do, motherfucker. Anyway, like, but, it's just like, oh, I'm like, how do I balance, like, all these things people are telling me to do? And in the end, it comes down to, like, what are you good at? What are you passionate about? What are you having fun with? And this is fun to me. Like, even on days when I'm tired and cranky or having a hard day, sometimes I do, like, man, I just wish I could cancel the show. But once I get on the mic, like, I'm in a good mood. And I get excited, and I get excited to talk to my guests, and I get excited to talk to you guys and listen to your stories and listen to what you guys got going on, and it changes it. So that's my deal right now, is I'm just trying to find a way to, to build, like, building an audience is hard. Like, for a while it was happening naturally. And then I got all these Twitter followers. But, I'm almost at 4,700 Twitter followers, which is, like, in the grand scheme of things, when people have millions, it doesn't mean shit. But, like, 4,000 people aren't listening to my podcast. I sure wish they were. Like, that'd be all, there's definitely not 4,000 people watching this live stream right now. Real sorry to disappoint all you guys. I know that's
Why
what
did I
you
even
thought.
come on the show?
I know you thought that. I know you thought that it was going to be.
I was lied
wildly
to.
Different. But it's so it's in it. And if people that read my Twitter, it's food, dogs, and comics. And how much I hate my job, which now that's
well, hey, you don't hate your job anymore, though.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, no, now I hate myself for hating my job too much and making a rash decision. But I do think I made the right decision, and like a lot of my body feels like like I feel less dread. But it's just I've never done that. I've never done that before. I've never quit a job without a backup plan before. So this is like a whole new clusterfuck to me. And it's like, I want to say it's exciting, but it's really just terrifying. And I Charlie asked me how I was doing the other day. And I do think, like, I work hard. I'm smart. I do have a couple degrees, even though I don't think people necessarily look for those right now, but like, I know some employers just like having that, like seeing that on the resume, because it means like, hey, I spent 4 years where people told me what to do and I did it, and I got this piece of paper, and they're like, cool, I can tell that guy what to do and he'll do it. Like, I feel like that's what having a degree is right now. But anyways, regardless, it's just it's a weird new place where I am having to really think about how to make the audience bigger, how to bring in more viewers, how to get more people to get excited about these comic books that I'm excited about. And like, it's a struggle, and I'm learning to navigate that. And now with all these new technologies and these new social media outlets and everything moving to video, it's a whole different world. Ian, hey man, happy to have you. You can always show up late. We'll be here. Mr. David Hazan, look at all these nerds. I know, man. It's a good table tonight.
Yeah, that's the thing. You may not have 4,000 people on this live stream, but it seems like we have the right people watching.
Yeah, we get good people. Yeah, and I do, like, I've had people message me like with like Drumsticks of Doom. Like, somebody was really into Drumsticks of Doom, and they sent me a message, and they're like, hey, this is my first Kickstarter. Like, thank you for showing this to me. And I was like, that's really cool. Like, it made me. Like, I was like, wow, I feel like I'm doing something. But unfortunately, and what everybody tells me is they're like, don't look at the numbers. But that's like telling you guys that too, right? Like, all right, guys, I know you're stressing about your Kickstarter, but just don't look at the numbers. Like, how the fuck do you not look at the numbers? Like, we got to get to a certain number
every goddamn day. I look at the numbers.
So yeah, that's another deal that I'm learning to.
I'd say that's actually one of the things I like most about, besides seeing Clay's smiling face in the office every day, is like while we have Kickstarters running, like being able to go through that like terror and trauma with someone, and we're like, I bet my numbers are down. It's gonna be okay, little buddy. And then my numbers are like, it's gonna be okay, little buddy. It's like, it's nice to.
We call like each other little buddy a lot. It's I don't know who's Skipper and who's Gilligan, but
I don't know what your guys' budget is, but if you wanted to hire somebody to, like, I'll put like a dry erase board in your office with like the thermometer, and I'll monitor your Kickstarter, and I'll like fill it in like as it goes, and I'll just sit. I won't even say anything. That's a lot.
Just silently in the corner. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to like let you know that if we put you in the office, we would have no room left in the office because it's that small.
Oh.
I basically sit in Clay's lap already.
It's true. And now we're getting all these Dream Quest books. It's
oh yeah, you guys got to put those somewhere now.
Yeah.
It's still like 8 times the size of an office that you could get and afford in Los Angeles. So
true story.
They're doing pretty good, yeah.
Charlie got David Hazan is a fan, apparently. Let's get.
I'm a fan of David's too. He writes.
I don't know anybody who doesn't like David Hazan. Like, I'll meet you in a back alley somewhere. Like, I don't take kindly to that. Like, that man is a gem, and everybody loves him, and he's just so excited and happy all the time. It's every time I've had. what was it? 3? Have we talked 3 times or 2? I think David and I have talked 3 times now. Well, yeah, because once was a live stream, and then 2 interviews was just him and I. And both interviews, like, we talked for like over 4 hours, like one time. And David kept telling me, and he was like, Blake, I gotta go. And I was like, we're not even recording anymore. We're just talking. I was like, this isn't my fault, man. And he's like showing me stuff of like new projects that like I can't talk about. He's like sending me pictures. He's like, oh yeah, here's like a cover. And I was like, this looks so cool. And he's like, you better not talk about it though. And I was like, all right, I won't. Like, but like we just ended up like talking, and we talked about like mac and cheese for a while, and like we're just have these like spiraling conversations. And it's funny because like I dropped this like hour-and-a-half interview, and then I have like 3 hours left of just like random David Hazan audio that like I feel like I should do something with one day. But we're like two old people that like bump into each other at like the old person's home, and we're just like, I haven't seen you since last week. I thought you were dead. And it's like, no, we're not dead. And it's just like this massive like catch up deal. And anyways, yeah, I also just don't know how to shut up, as I'm sure everybody who's talked to me and watches my show knows. I just talk and talk and talk. And then, what's up? We got the Geek Collective in the house. What's up? Thanks for tuning in. Anybody who doesn't know, Blake's Buzz is a part of the Geek Collective, and Joey runs that and takes good care of us. He's about to call me on my, yeah, I would be very hard to stay quiet, especially in that office. Like I feel like I would, even if I was, I'd be like, it'd be like a downtime, and I'd be like, guys, I'm going to do a live stream. And he'd be like, this motherfucker. And I'm just like, we're all just sitting there, and Clay and Mick are doing real shit. And then I'm just here talking to Pat Shand or somebody.
Yeah, we mostly sit in companionable silence, and I like to eavesdrop on the offices right next to us. Like that's what brings me joy. You
put like a cup up against the wall and like
what person? Oh yeah, we've been there. We've been there.
He literally does.
Yeah. I mean, you got to know what's going on with the people around you, and that's what's important. Knowing what's going on with the people around you when they have no idea who you are.
So do you have any?
Somebody's running a pyramid scheme over here.
Yeah, I've got a pyramid scheme. It's great. It's fantastic.
You need an office for that?
Apparently. I mean, you got to look legit, right? It's all about the image. That's how Clay suckered me. And he's like, Mick, look, I'm a very successful comic writer. I have an office. Let's do a book together. I'm going to pay you an exposure. And I said yes.
Sucker.
Well, it's funny because you also draw and base your art on exposure, right?
Yeah,
It's full circle.
Yeah, I wanted to bring. Now that I'm glad you brought that back up, Charlie, because as you mentioned before, like the nude variants and stuff like doesn't appeal to your narrative process and how you see your characters. But I also know that like for their last campaign, there was a couple not safe for work covers. There's some some nudity in the one shot. There's like a scene that because we're like flitting about through various dreams. We're like traveling the dreamscape technically, but it's not the dreamscape, it's a quest. So we're traveling the dreamscape to take on this dream quest, which is what the actual comic is called. I'll remember it one day, guys. I do know that I read it and liked it. I just don't know the name of this book. Didn't pay attention to the title. But there's obviously I can like talk about scenes and dialogue. So like I did read your comics, so whatever. I have that saving grace. But there's like that moment of like when Margot first goes into the dream realm and she shows up and she's like totally naked and she's like, what the fuck, you said this was safe, and like but it's like she's like in that cliche dream of like, oh, like you're naked in front of a group of people and having to like navigate that clusterfuck. And then and I like that you guys started it there, and then it like in like a lighter realm, and then it gets like really kind of dark and twisted and scary as the narrative progresses, which builds up the tension and makes you turn the pages faster. But when Charlie mentioned earlier about how when he kind of approached Connor about like, can you make a little bit more sex appeal? Like when he said that, what I thought in my mind was like, Clay standing over Mick's drawing desk and just like hitting him with a ruler and screaming at him like sexier, more boobs, more butts.
It was exactly the other way around. I'm like, this. He's like, nope, do it again. This, nope, draw it again. This, nope, draw it again. Because again, Clay promised me a project we were going to sell out on. And instead, he wanted to put out a quality book. I'm still bitter.
How do you sell out on Kickstarter, though? Like it's made to order.
Well, right. Well, I mean, like, you just, you appeal to that lowest common denominator. You just go with the bits covers. Just, go sell.
He's very mad that I nixed a very specific bits cover. He will not let me hear the end of it. But I put my foot down.
It was like full blown penetration, or like what was going on this cover?
It wasn't even that bad. It was not that bad.
But
you need to go to Mick's Patreon for that.
Yeah.
True story.
Subscribe to Mick's Patreon to get some details on this secret cover that will never come to be.
And I had to go through the pages to scrub all the secret penises Mick drew in. And
I did have to redraw a page of penises. It was really nice. Like, despite the fact that I had to redraw all these penises and turn them into.
It's a great experience, though.
Like having like a full editorial process on my art was really nice, because it's like I had not, like, there were just things I'd never thought of. It was like, oh, like I'd draw the page, because Charlie is so enamored of my work. Like, he gave me very few notes, if any, and Clay was just a nightmare, and he was just like, no, change this, change this, change this. But like, kind of being forced to think about what I was drawing for someone else, and like Charlie did give me notes too. But it was like, that was the part I enjoyed. It was like, I would have drawn it like this and I would have called it good, but then like both Charlie and Clay were there to say like, but you could do it,
so they push you
this way and it would be better. And it was like, oh my God, you're right. Like, it had not occurred to me until you guys brought it up, but like, this is legitimately better. Like, I don't know. It was a fun process. And
well, and I think what I asked you to do was take all the genitalia that Clay was making you cut and hide it somewhere in white ash as like
I just moved it from one book to the other.
Those bits. Yeah. So yeah.
I just want everybody to know that if secret penises are your jam, then you should definitely check out Mick's new Kickstarter, which launched today. And there's you know why? Because like, what is more secret and penile than low hanging alien dong? Like, they got like, their torsos are bigger, they got all these arms, they got these weird swinging monkey arms, on the lower level. I just, why not? Mars is weird, and Mick's
crazy place.
Mick's there to make it weirder. But it is really good, and I am excited for this new third issue. As I am excited for all your guys' stuff. Blazing Blade of Frankenstein is coming out from that we Clay was on the show a few days ago talking about that. The Galarian hardcover is, the first White Ash hardcover is absolutely gorgeous, and this is going to match it on the shelves, and it's going to look nice next to it. And I just really like everything about Galarian, and I'm really glad that Charlie keeps working with different creators, which is cool, because he's giving other creatives a chance, because there's a lot of, I like to think that I know my shit every now and then, right? But like, Charlie brings in these artists that like I haven't heard of, and they have these beautiful pages that blow me away and get me excited about his projects, and so he does that with Galarian. He mentioned to me, like, Charlie, you told me the other day, like, on Galarian specifically, you try to work more with only female creatives.
I do work with a lot of women on Galarian, because I think, especially with a female protagonist with a book that sometimes has some adult content on it, for me personally, I think having a woman direct the camera lens helps reduce any potential objectification.
Yeah.
I also just work with fabulous artists, And so I've got a couple of new ones that I'm really excited to see their take on the Galarian universe. I've got a short that's not in this book because it sadly was giving away a little bit too much. So I've shelved it for later, but I worked with this artist Tango on it, and Tango's work is incredible.
The
Mick
Tango one isn't gonna make it?
No, it's not. It's not in this hardcover. It's gonna be actually a story that goes into it's gonna be a part of the Galarian miniseries hardcover, because it gives away a little bit too much of what's going on in that series. That. So it's gonna be a nice little coda.
You just lost my pledge. I need to go.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
Tango is going to be doing a pinup though for this hardcover. So there will be some of Tango's work in it. I'm working with an artist, Francine Delgado, who is fantastic. Who I love what she's and Mick, you liked her stuff too as well. And so Damian Torres, who is doing incredible work too. I think he'd be a great person for you to look at for covers as well, Clay. He's doing a bunch of stuff for Dynamite right now. He did a Red Sonja Vampirella one that was insane. So he's really great too, and I love the pages that I'm getting in from him. So
I'm still waiting for sexy gargoyle covers from Dynamite, and they haven't dropped them yet, and I'm really sad about it. Because I love that like gargoyles are back, but I just Dynamite's known for their some sexier covers, and I just want like some gargoyle, sexy hot gargoyle action.
You know what, Blake? I'll draw you a sexy gargoyle tomorrow. That will be the first thing I do when I get to the office.
Fuck yeah,
sexy gargoyle.
This shit's finally paying off after all these years.
The only question I have for you: gargoyle dong or no gargoyle dong?
I want dong everywhere. I'm not. Right. I'm secure with myself. All right, this ain't naked and shy or whatever the fuck that shows you guys are watching.
Naked Attraction.
So if you're not Blake, would there by chance this sexy gargoyle end up on your Patreon? If people subscribe, they might also see it there.
I think it could.
Yeah. If you guys want some hot gargoyle fanfic and art to accompany it, subscribe to Mick's Patreon, and it won't let you down. But no, guys, I'm always like, we're going to go for like a solid 30, 45 minutes. And then like 2 hours later, you guys are still talking to me. I'm sorry. Well, they're not secret anymore, David. You just got to subscribe to Mick's Patreon, and they'll be out there on full display, blowing in the wind gracefully. But no, all of you guys have really, really great campaigns going on right now. All of you guys are really good voices in the indie comic community, and you are all good. It's good to watch how you guys navigate these realms, right? You fulfill your campaigns, you don't fuck around, you get shit done. All of you do this, right? No matter the number that your campaign ends in the exact backer number. You guys are all doing this. You're setting really, really good examples for other people in the Kickstarter community. And if I feel like you guys are also there to kind of help people navigate these weird waters when they finally, put the boat in the ocean or whatever. And I'm glad to know all you guys. It's you guys have all been on my show several times now, and sometimes we talk outside of the show, and I just you make what I do seem worth it a lot. I mean, I'm not like super cheese dicky in that, but like you guys really do, man. I don't know, like some people expect a lot, and it's you don't always feel appreciated. And anytime I've had you guys on my show or talked about your campaigns, and you always say thank you. You're always cool to press and people that have you on, and I wish more people were like that, I guess. And so anyways, I'm really, really glad that we all got to do this, and I want to go around real quick and remind people all the things we've talked about, and the nakedness and the dongs and the comments and the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl and me not having a job anymore and all these things that we've talked about tonight. What we were here to talk about was some really awesome Kickstarter campaigns. Mick launched his today. Mick, real quick, why right now should we go back? Queen of Thorns, Part 3, And if you haven't, you can get 1 and 2 as well. You got physical packages, you got digital packages, you got awesome sketch tiers. I love I love that you do backing board sketches now at kind of a discounted rate.
Oh yeah.
I think that's a pretty smart move. But why do we back your campaign?
Queen of Dream Quest Alien Dongs is a story that, is for anyone of all ages, life situations. It's black and white, so it's a perfect coloring book for the kids. They talk a lot, so it's perfect for older readers. The pictures are big for your much older readers. It really, it hits every demographic. It's I don't know. It's a love letter to the books I grew up with, and it's about pulpy science fantasy, slash 'em up while naked adventure, and you can't go wrong with it. I've got some great covers this time from Tango, who also apparently Charlie has spurned. Chris Panda, Adam Markowitz, and I got a watercolor from Sean Joyce that I absolutely
love. That thing fucks hard.
So perfectly captures like an old paperback cover.
Yeah,
I absolutely love it. It's fantastic. But yeah, there's this is the 3rd issue. The other 2 issues are available. Got all sorts of package deals, original art. That's your thing. From as small as a backing board to as large as 18 by 24 inches. Yeah,
you do like fucking sketch posters, man. And there's those 2 examples that you have. Oh my god, yeah, there's like 2 examples on his campaign page right now that like they're already drawn, and you can like claim those for a discounted rate. And those are both fucking gnarly gorgeous.
Man. Yeah. Clay makes me turn everything I draw upside down before I leave for the day. He doesn't want the cleaning crew to see anything I do.
I don't want to get evicted, but I have to say these are gorgeous. I see them every day when I walk in, and he's working on them, and they're fantastic. So somebody buy those so I don't have to.
And you can do the same thing I guess you can't do the same thing through your new campaign for Blazing Blade of Frankenstein because Mick's not working on it.
We did sell some. We did sell some through DreamQuest.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah. And you can get that. You can get that through add-ons through the Indiegogo storefront, right?
There's a couple. There's a few available through Indiegogo too. Yeah.
And then real quick, Clay, I know you were just on and we just talked about it, but Blazing Blade of Frankenstein is live right now, and you guys should totally go check that out too. And I do recommend the Dream Quest. I finally remembered the title. Yeah. It's like kudos for me for not fucking up the product that my guests are on here hoping I help them sell. But no, like you can get that now, and you should check it out. You should check out some of Clay's other stuff. Same with Mick. Mick has a cool tier for like, I think for the physical part for like $80, you can get all his stuff. A big old bundle of Mick.
Oh shit! You know what? I don't think I did a PDF version of that.
You didn't.
Damn, that's dumb. All right, I'll fix that tomorrow.
You can probably adjust it. I hear you can.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so but yeah. Blazing Blade of Frankenstein is awesome. Queen of Mars is fucking awesome. Charlie Stickney and Galarian, and a beautiful hardcover. I think there's 3 different dust jacket options. There's probably some stretch goals. This thing's fucking printing money, so the stretch goals are going to happen, whatever they end up being. The original art may have already been claimed, right? Did all the original art get claimed?
The first hour.
Okay. Well, that's for you, ladies and gentlemen. Should have been on the ball.
As soon as that happened, Charlie, I showed up at the office the next day, and I was like, I need to start drawing physical pages. I've got 2 done now.
That's cool. But yeah. So and Charlie's the same way. He's got add-ons for previous stuff. There's if you've been hiding under a rock for the last few years, you can get caught up with White Ash. There's a few different ways for you to get caught up on that in this campaign. I do recommend the hardcover, though the new trade is also equally gorgeous. But the hardcover is just, it's chef's kiss, and it will match. It'll match the new Galarian hardcover, and you can put them on your shelves. And then when your friends come over and they're like, wow, you have a lot of books, you fucking nerd. And then they're going to see these 2 books next to each other and be like, that looks interesting. And then that's how you turn them. And then you convert them, and then you get them. And then now they're hooked on White Ash like the rest of us. So just get the hardcovers. It's fine. Don't quit your day job so that you can get these hardcovers. Because it turns out, as I've just recently, you know what really sucks, guys, is I used to listen. I've been listening to a lot of metal lately, and usually like before the live streams, I like have a couple drinks and listen to metal and like rock out and get hyped up. And I canceled my I canceled all my subscriptions to like, try and penny pinch. And I was like trying to like use my title and like listen to a song I wanted to listen to. And it was like, cool, listen to this 15-second advertisement. And I was like, oh. And then I listened to the song, and then like I wanted to listen to another song, and it was like, oh, cool, listen to this other 15-second advertisement. And I was like, is this what it's like being poor? Oh my God. It's the absolute worst thing ever. Anyways, seriously, like Charlie, your campaign is awesome. And I'm so glad you're having, I'm glad you're all having the success that you're having, but like when Charlie is surprised on a day one, like that's saying something. And this is some really great comics. There's really awesome shorts. He's showcasing some really great creators through pinups and the various art. It's a really cool story. Galarian is such a badass character. A lot of us like women in our comic books and like women characters with agency, and Galarian very much has that. And then so does her daughter, which is one of the main characters in White Ash. So it's very cool to see like where these characters come from in these prequel stories, which are all being bound together and printed immaculately for you guys to back right now on Kickstarter. And Kickstarter's not going anywhere. These guys aren't going anywhere, and great comics aren't going anywhere. There's always going to be some for you to buy. I promise you that. Everybody else, like real quick, let's go round robin real quick. Let's tell everybody where to find you. Give us your social security numbers and the last 4 digits of your credit card number and the expiration date, please, if you don't mind. Mick, where we find you at, bud? I'm
Mick Comicer at Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I think that's it. Hive, if anyone's still there.
Oh man, I haven't been on there in a minute.
Right. I have actually been streaming on Twitch pretty consistently the last couple of weeks, which is new again, but I've enjoyed that. So
yeah, you do a lot of live. You do a lot of live sketching, right?
Yeah.
What's your Patreon?
I think I'm Mick Comicer there too. I'm Mick Comicer everywhere. I locked it all down.
Yeah, give this guy your fucking money. He's fucking dope, ladies and gentlemen. Like, just
I will take your money, and I will draw you a gargoyle dong to thank you for.
Dude, and it'll be rock hard because it's a gargoyle. Clay, where you at, bud?
I am at Clay's Evil Twin on Twitter, and I am clayadams.substack.com for my newsletter, and bit.ly /Blazing Blade 2, bit.ly /Blazing Blade 2 for Blazing Blade of Frankenstein, and on Indiegogo it's DreamQuest, not any of that other shit Blake said.
Hey, we're building an audience for gargoyle dongs. We're building something here in the community. Thanks, Mark. And last but definitely not least, Charlie, thank you so much for coming back on my show. For real, I appreciate you in so many different ways. You've taught me so much about this industry. You've taught me so much about branding and advertising and just promoting. And like, I fucking love how much you love comics, and you're so cool. And where do our followers and people find you? Where we keep track of you at?
Well, thank you, Blake. I do love coming on the show. You can quickly find me. Probably the best place is at Charles Stickney on Twitter. That's where I'm most active. That's where I'm most likely to respond to you. I do think, the important thing to remember is this is a community, and we're all here to give back to each other. So, if people are getting into this Kickstarter journey, and you need someone to talk to sort of help you get oriented, feel free to reach out and talk to Clay. He will be happy to answer all of your questions.
I'm here for you. Bring it.
Awesome. Everybody, I really hope if you watch the show tonight, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for leaving some comments. If you watch it later, I really, really hope you check out these guys' campaigns. I know things get expensive. I know times are hard for some people. Hi, it's me. And but honestly, like there's some really great comics that don't always come out in comic book stores, and that's why Kickstarter is great, and that's why we are all here to remind you about a secret, wonderful, warm, comforting pool of indie comics that welcomes everybody and loves its viewerships and loves its co-creators, and it's just a nice, comfy place to be, I guess, unless you do anthologies, because for some reason people get into some shit with anthologies. But if anyway, forget I said that. I would edit that out, even though it's kind of true, but I can't edit because we're live. Anyways, sorry, but I've honestly, I've backed almost 350 campaigns. I've had 2 bad experiences, and even in those bad experiences, I didn't lose my money. I didn't get fucked over. It just wasn't the pristine experience it typically is. So seriously, Kickstarter is a good place to get great comics, and more people should check that out. All of you guys, I wish you the best of luck in your campaigns. And I hope you get plenty more backers, and I hope that I hope everything ends up being well. I hope the printers do well for you. And I'm just excited for these new projects you guys got coming out. And I'm just, my name's Blake. I'm here with Mick. I'm here with Clay. I'm here with Charlie. I'm sure all of you I'm sure most of you have heard about these people before. If not, you just, get comfy with them. They're great creators to follow, and they make really, really good comics, really great stories. And they're all just very kind, good people that I'm proud to know. And anyways, that's all I've got to say after running my mouth for so many hours. Again, guys, thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate all of you. It was great to catch up. Clay, I haven't talked to you in forever. Thank you so much for coming back. Buy these comics, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe to Blake's Buzz YouTube channel. Subscribe to my Substack. You go to blakesbuzz.com. It'll take you to my Substack. Yeah, I'm fancy. I don't have a Substack URL because I'm ahead of the game. blakesbuzz.com. At Blake's Buzz on whatever fucking social media you can find except Hive, because I got too much shit going on. It was fun, but
no one's there anyway.
Yeah, it was a really neat kegger, but the keg ran out, and now cheaper beer elsewhere, I guess. No, but I really did what they were doing. Man, sometimes I say shit and I'm like, that's kind of a dick thing to say, Blake. But they were doing a cool thing at a good time that I think kind of helped the social media environment, even for the short moment it was around. So, kudos to them for trying, because so many people are scared to try, especially something as intense as that. All I do is fucking talk. Guys, I'm getting out of here. I love you all. You're so amazing. And thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. It's Blake's Buzz Live.